Hi and welcome to Stamp with Angela. Today I'm going to show you how to make these cute little gift bags using the gift bag punch board. So this gift bag punch board is only around for a little bit longer, so if you'd like to get one, you need to get one this month before they retire. So the gift bag punch board makes it easy to make different size bags. So I'll just show, this one here is a small, this is a medium, and then I'm going to make a large. So when I say the size, it's referring to the width, okay? So the width, this is the width of this small bag. You can make it as high or as short or tall as you like, but it's referring to, this is the medium, and then the large will be an even wider bag. So this was, the height of this piece when I started was 6 inches, half of a 12 by 12. And the length varies on what size bag you're gonna make. So this is what, when you use the punch board, this is what you'll cut out, but actually it will be this way, upside down, and there are 4 panels. Okay, so I'm going to leave this, well, you can't see it anyway, so I'll put that there to show you. And what I'm going to do first is, although this is done on Designer Series paper, which is lovely, it's a little bit hard to see what I'm doing, so I'm just going to do it on a blank piece of cardstock, which you could very well use for a bag, because then you could always stamp it to decorate it, but at least you can see what I'm doing. Now, if you are making a bag, you're actually doing it upside down, because when you go to put it together, it'll be this way. So if it has a pattern, like this one does, when you're making it, you have to turn it around. And I've made the mistake before, so you certainly can, you learn by mistakes to make sure you've got it the way you want it. So when it's, a pattern doesn't have a right or wrong way, makes life so much easier. All right, so on the board is your scoring tool here. So that keeps it nice and safe so you don't lose it. All right, so first of all, we're going to put it in, and we are going to put the edge of our cardstock against this line here. And I usually say punch and score. So we've got it lined up and punch, sorry, and then score. So score horizontal. And the first score line is, which I said large, didn't I? We're going to do a large, okay? So that does large. Then the next bit, we want the side. So slide it over, and that line that you just did, now line it up with this little point here. And you are going to, or I always punch first, then don't forget punch and score. But this time we're doing a side, and you also have to do this little triangle as well. Slide it over to that second score line here. Guess what? Punch and then score. Now we want the large size. Okay, move it over to this line here again, lining it up with that point, punch, and then score. So the horizontal, at this time we're doing a side. And remember that triangle and the middle one. You still need to do one more punch, otherwise it would look like that. So move it over again, and you want to make sure you've pushed it straight in so it's not angled or anything. So right up, and then line it up with that last line and punch. And there you go. Now if you haven't quite done all the score lines, you can just slide it back in and do all the score lines like this, okay? Now you need to cut a couple of pieces off, or one actually, so you don't want that extra little flappy bit there, okay? We don't need that. I also find, oh, I've missed a score line here as well. There we go. All right, if you want to do holes, whoops, which this has for tying up, I'll do it now before you forget. So there's a punch up here for the holes. So you need to do, I'll show you one here, this line here, this line, this line, this line, and this line. Okay, not the middle one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines you've got to line up against for your holes. So one is the edge, so there's a little marker thing there, punch, then to that first score line. And this time it will do 2 holes either side. Sorry if it shakes the camera. Not the middle one, but the next one. Both this next one. And lastly, the end one. Okay, so I find it's good to make sure you pre-score everything now before you put it together, because if you've adhered it, it's really hard to get the bits folding in the right places. So let's fold each of these up, and we can use this as our to crease it. I'll get rid of our holes. This one here, this one here. Now these ones want to go the other way, so they want to come in and like that. Yes, and this one wants to come in and manipulate those two like that. All right, so when we put it together, it will be like this. So what we need to do is put some adhesive down here, and I think that's what just fell on the floor before. Here we go. So I'm going to put some adhesive on the strip here. Okay. Now I've actually used a piece of A4 cardstock, so it's probably just a little bit narrower than 12 by 12. That's why my little flap is probably a bit narrower than what you would usually get. So line it up nicely, kind of line it up at the top and crease it. Okay. Now I like to have that seam at the back, so you've got your nice thing at the front. Now obviously if you were stamping this, before you adhere it, you would stamp a pattern on it while it's still flat, and then you'd put it together. And then you need to put these together. So those two go in. And so I'm just gonna, you don't really want to put adhesive all along the bottom because there's a gap in the middle and it'll be sticky. So I'm just gonna put 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's my back, this is my front, so I'm going to put those in and those in, and whoops, line it up nice and square. Push it down so it's nice and firm. There you go. So now I can thread my ribbon through to make, you can either tie it like this, so it goes all the way through, or you can even tie one piece on one side and one on the other and make 2 handles for it. Okay? So that's the basics of the bag. So often, particularly when I started, I like to have one of these templates right next to me. And that could remind me wide side, and then wide. So this is for a small box, because you'll see the width of it is just the small mark. This was a small one. This was the medium. And this was the large. So if you see them, you'll see I'm talking about the width of them. Okay, now this was 6 inches high. This piece was, I think from memory, about 7 inches high, so that gives me a slightly taller box. Okay, and you could go even taller, although it might come off the bottom of your gift bag. So I'm going to show you one other thing now with some patterned paper. So remember, I have to turn it upside down because this is doing the bottom, and we're going again to make a large, and you'll see this one here, I'm not quite going to be able to fit it all in. So punch, score, large. Don't worry, I can't go off. Now I don't see what I mean. It's a bit harder now that's patterned to find that line. Punch, score the horizontal, now do the side. Remember my triangle and my extra bit, and then move it over to that line. Punch, do my horizontal first. Now I need to do my wide one, my large. Move it over. Punch, horizontal. Now my side and my triangle and extra bit. And remember, I still have to do one more punch at the end. Okay, like before, where I buried my scissors, cut this little piece off. Okay, and if there's any score lines I've missed, just do those. Now, I'm going to show you something else you can do. Now this is quite thick paper, so it will be a little bit harder to cut the holes in 2 layers, but we'll try. going to grab my scorer and I'm going to score about 1 inch from the top across. And then what I'm going to do is fold that over. So now I've got like an edge at the top. So now I'll go back to folding all those score lines, and it might need a little bit of extra help because it's now 2 layers, and then remember the bottom ones too. Doing it fairly quick so you can crease them and things, and remember to do these the other way, particularly this one down the bottom. Make sure that you help that one go. Okay, you can spend a little bit more time on it. Okay, now if I am going to put holes on it, I want to do this now. All right, so it is 2 layers, so it is going to be a bit more of a challenge. Find that mark. Oh, I can't quite do it. I'll pause and let's try again. I'll just pause and do it. All right, I've put my holes in. It was just a little bit hard to do because I had to lean over the table to get to it, whereas if I was able to do it directly underneath me, I could put the holes in. But obviously 2 layers of DSP is going to be a bit harder, and this is thicker DSP as well. So let's put it together. You'll see on this one that the strip is wider. The other thing I'm going to do is just trim that. You'll see why in a minute. So adhesive along here. Oops, not at the bottom. So we put our box together like before, but this time I'm going to tuck that on the inside. And I'm going to, can you see, tuck that underneath as well. Now if it's not quite lined up, you might want to just trim it, and then a bit of adhesive as well. Let's do it. So maybe a piece underneath there, and on top. Whoops, it's sticking to my fingers. Okay, there we go, like that. Okay, so that's going to be our back, so it's not so messy. There we go, and look, our design is going up the right way. It's the same thing as before. Some adhesive, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the front, so let's put it like that. There we go. And this time I will thread some ribbon through. Now I forgot about the pink rich raspberry top. Maybe this colour isn't quite so good for it now. The pattern's turned over, but maybe the contrast is good. If you can't get them all through, do 2. And then the other one. Nearly finished. And tie it up. I chose this colour because there's some sort of calypso coral in the flowers, but maybe a white or a green or something. Alright, I might just need to tidy up the edge of my ribbon. There we go. So that's the large bag. So this was 8 inches by 12, and that gives you a taller bag. So let's compare all 3, and you'll see small, medium and large. So this here is small, medium and large. So these were 6 inches high, small, medium. This was 8 inches and then an inch folded down as well, and then the full length. So remember, on here it tells you what width your paper needs to be. 10 inches for small, 11 inches for medium, 12 inches for the large. So if you ever forget, and there is a picture here too of what it needs to do, but it's kind of, that's the result. So here is, this is how it happens. Do the wide one, then the side, wide one, side, and then the result is kind of like that. Okay, so it is on here to remind you, but I would suggest you make yourself a template and keep it in the box, and you can always put it out next to where you're working and remind you, so you don't do mistakes like I did, like this one. And then when you go to put your box together, all your flowers are upside down and it doesn't work. So even I do mistakes. So have your template, have a go, and remember, if you would like to get one, they're only around for a short time. So make sure you order one today. So thanks for watching. I hope you found that really useful. Hope you have fun with your gift bag punch board, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks.